Exodus 38, verse 21. These were the appointments of the dwelling place of the witness, which was appointed by the mouth of Moshe, for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest, and Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah, made all that Adonai had commanded Moshe, and with him Oholiav, son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and designer, an embroiderer in blue and purple and scarlet material, and in fine linen, all the gold prepared for the work, in all the work of the set-apart place, and it was the gold of the wave offering, came to be 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the shekel of the set-apart place. And the silver from the ones counted of the congregation was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, according to the shekel of the set-apart place. A bekah, half a shekel, for a head, according to the shekel of the set-apart place, for everyone passing over to the counted, from 20 years old and above, for 603,550 men. And the 100 talents of silver were for casting the sockets of the set-apart place and the bases of the veil, 100 sockets from the 100 talents, a talent for each socket. And of the 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the columns, and overlaid their tops, and made bands for them. And the bronze of the wave offering was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. And with it he made the sockets for the door of the tent of appointment, and the bronze slaughter place, and the bronze grating for it, and all the utensils for the slaughter place, and the sockets for the courtyard all around, and the bases for the courtyard gate, and all the pegs for the dwelling place, and all the pegs for the courtyard all around. And of the blue and purple and scarlet material they made woven garments to do service in the set-apart place. And they made the set-apart garments which were for Aaron, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he made the shoulder garment of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen. And they beat out sheets of gold, and cut it into threads, to work it in with the blue and purple and scarlet material, and the fine linen, the work of a skilled workman. They made shoulder pieces for it to join it. It was joined at its two edges. And the embroidered band of his shoulder garment that was on it was of the same work of gold, and blue and purple and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And they made the shoham stones, set in plated work of gold, engraved as signets are engraved, according to the names of the sons of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the shoulder garment, stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he made the breastplate, a work of a skilled workman, like the work of the shoulder garment, of gold, of blue and purple and scarlet material, and of fine woven linen. It was square. They made the breastplate double, its length a span, its width a span, doubled. And they filled it with 4 rows of stones, a row of ruby, a topaz, and an emerald was the first row, and at the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond, and the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst, and the fourth row a beryl, a shoham, and a jasper, set in plated work of gold in their settings. And the stones were according to the names of the sons of Israel, 12 according to their names, engraved like a signet, each one with its own name according to the 12 tribes. And they made braided chains of corded work for the breastplate at the ends, of clean gold. And they made 2 settings of gold, and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 cords they fastened in the 2 settings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the shoulder garment in the front. And they made 2 rings of gold, and they put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, on the edge of it, which was on the inward side of the shoulder garment. And they made 2 gold rings, and put them on the 2 shoulder pieces, underneath the shoulder garment, on the front of it, close to its seam, above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment. And they bound the breastplate by means of its rings to the rings of the shoulder garment, with a blue cord, so that it would be above the embroidered band of the shoulder garment, and that the breastplate would not come loose from the shoulder garment, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he made the robe of the shoulder garment of woven work, all of blue. And the opening of the robe was in the middle, like the opening in a scaled armor, with a woven binding all around the opening, so that it would not tear. And they made on the hem of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet material, twined. And they made bells of clean gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates on the hem of the robe, all around between the pomegranates, a bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, all around the hem of the robe, for the service, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And they made the long shirt of fine linen, the work of a weaver, for Aaron and his sons, and a turban of fine linen, and the turban ornaments of fine linen, and short trousers of fine woven linen, and a girdle of fine woven linen, with blue and purple and scarlet material, the work of an embroiderer, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And they made the plate of the set-apart sign of dedication of clean gold, and wrote on it an inscription, like the engraving of a signet, set apartness to Adonai. And they put on it a blue cord, to fasten it above on the turban, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And all the work of the dwelling place of the tent of appointment was completed, and the children of Israel did according to all that Adonai had commanded Moshe. So they did. And they brought the dwelling place to Moshe, the tent and all its furnishings, its hooks, its boards, its bars, and its columns, and its sockets, and the covering of rams' skins dyed red, and the covering of fine leather, and the veil of the covering, the ark of the witness with its poles, and the lid of atonement, the table and all its utensils, and the showbread, the clean lampstand with its lamps, the lamps to be put in order, and all its utensils, and the oil for light, and the slaughter place of gold, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the covering for the tent door, the bronze slaughter place, and its bronze grating, its poles, and all its utensils, the basin with its stand, the screens of the courtyard, its columns, and its sockets, the covering for the courtyard gate, its cords, and its pegs, and all the utensils for the service of the dwelling place, for the tent of appointment, the woven garments, to do service in the set-apart place, the set-apart garments for Aaron the priest and his sons' garments, to serve as priests, according to all that Adonai had commanded Moshe. So the children of Israel did all the work. And Moshe looked over all the work, and saw they did it, as Adonai had commanded. So they had done, and Moshe blessed them. And Adonai spoke to Moshe, saying, On the first day of the first new moon, you are to raise up the dwelling place of the tent of appointment, and shall put in it the ark of the witness, and screen the ark with the veil. And you shall bring in the table, and arrange what belongs on it, and bring in the lampstand, and light its lamps. And you shall set the slaughter place of gold for the incense before the ark of the witness, and put up the covering of the door to the dwelling place. And you shall set the slaughter place of the ascending offering before the door of the dwelling place of the tent of appointment, and shall set the basin between the tent of appointment and the slaughter place, and shall put water therein. And you shall set up the courtyard all around, and shall place the covering of the courtyard gate, and shall take the anointing oil, and anoint the dwelling place, and all that is in it, and shall set it, and all its utensils apart, and it shall be set apart. And you shall anoint the slaughter place of the ascending offering, and all its utensils, and set the slaughter place apart, and the slaughter place shall be most set apart. And you shall anoint the basin and its stand, and set it apart. And you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tent of appointment, and wash them with water. And you shall put the set-apart garments on Aaron, and anoint him, and set him apart to serve as priest to me. And you shall bring his sons, and put long shirts on them, and shall anoint them, as you anointed their father, and they shall serve as priests to me. And their anointing shall be for them an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. And Moshe did according to all that Adonai had commanded him, so he did. And it came to be in the first new moon of the second year, on the first day of the new moon, that the dwelling place was raised up. And Moshe raised up the dwelling place, and placed its sockets, and set up its boards, and put in its bars, and raised up its columns, and spread the tent over the dwelling place, and put the covering of the tent on top of it, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he took the witness, and put it into the ark, and he put the poles through the rings of the ark, and put the lid of atonement on top of the ark, and brought the ark into the dwelling place, and placed the veil of the covering to screen of the ark of the witness, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he put the table in the tent of appointment, on the north side of the dwelling place, outside the veil, and set the bread in order upon it before Adonai, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he put the lampstand in the tent of appointment, opposite the table, on the south side of the dwelling place, and lit the lamps before Adonai, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he put the gold slaughter place in the tent of appointment in front of the veil, and burned sweet incense on it, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he set up the covering to the door of the dwelling place. And he put the slaughter place of ascending offering before the door of the dwelling place of the tent of appointment, and offered upon it the ascending offering and the grain offering, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he put the basin between the tent of appointment and the slaughter place, and put water therein for washing. And Moshe and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet with water from it, as they went into the tent of appointment. And as they came near the slaughter place, they would watch, as Adonai had commanded Moshe. And he raised up the courtyard all around the dwelling place and the slaughter place, and placed the covering of the courtyard gate. And Moshe completed the work, and the cloud covered the tent of appointment, and the esteem of Adonai filled the dwelling place. And Moshe was not able to come into the tent of appointment, because the cloud dwelt on it, and the esteem of Adonai filled the dwelling place. And when the cloud was taken up from above the dwelling place, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not set out till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Adonai was on the dwelling place by day, and fire was on it by night, before the eyes of all the house of Israel in all their journeys. 1 Kings 7, verse 40. And Hiram made the pots, and the shovels, and the bowls. And Hiram completed doing all the work that he was to do for sovereign Shlomo on the house of Adonai. The 2 columns and the bowl-shaped capitals that were on top of the columns, and the 2 networks covering the 2 bowl-shaped capitals which were on top of the columns, and the 400 pomegranates for the 2 networks, 2 rows of pomegranates for each network to cover the 2 bowl-shaped capitals that were on top of the columns, and the 10 stands, and the 10 basins on the stands, and the 1 sea, and 12 oxen under the sea, and the pots, and the shovels, and the bowls, and all these utensils which Hiram made for sovereign Shlomo for the house of Adonai were of polished bronze. The sovereign had them cast in clay in the district of Yarden, between Sikoth and Tarethan. And Shlomo left all the utensils unweighed, because they were many, nor was the weight of the bronze searched out. So Shlomo made all the utensils for the house of Adonai, the slaughter place of gold, and the table of gold on which was the showbread, and the lampstands of refined gold, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left, in front of the speaking place, with the flowers and the lamps and the snuffers of gold, and the basins and the snuffers and the bowls and the ladles and the fire holders of refined gold, and the hinges of gold, both for the doors of the inner house, the most set apart place, and for the doors of the house of the Hekal. Thus all the work which sovereign Shlomo had done for the house of Adonai was completed. And Shlomo brought in the set apart items of his father David, the silver and the gold and the utensils, and he put them in the treasuries of the house of Adonai. Then Shlomo assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel, to sovereign Shlomo in Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of Adonai from the city of David, which is Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled to sovereign Shlomo at the festival in the month of Ethaim, which is the 7th new moon. And all the elders of Israel came, and the priests took up the ark, and brought up the ark of Adonai, and the tent of appointment, and all the set apart utensils that were in the tent, and the priests and the Levites brought them up. And sovereign Shlomo and all the congregation of Israel who had assembled with him were with him before the ark, slaughtering so many sheep and cattle that they could not be counted or numbered. And the priests brought in the ark of the covenant of Adonai to its place, into the speaking place of the house, to the most set apart place, under the wings of the cherubim. For the cherubim spread 2 wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim covered over the ark and its poles. And the poles extended so that the ends of the poles were seen from the set apart place in front of the speaking place, but they were not seen from outside, and they are there to this day. There was naught in the ark, only the 2 tablets of stone which Moshe put there at Horeb, where Adonai made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of the land of Mitzrayim. And it came to be, when the priests came out of the set apart place, that the cloud filled the house of Adonai, so that the priests were unable to stand and perform the service because of the cloud, for the esteem of Adonai filled the house of Adonai. And Shlomo said, Adonai has said he would dwell in the dark cloud. I have indeed built you an exalted house, an established place for you to dwell in forever. And the sovereign turned around and blessed all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel was standing. And he said, Blessed be Adonai, Elohim of Israel, who spoke with his mouth to my father David, and with his hand has filled it, saying, Since the day I brought my people Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. I have chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house for my name to be there, but I chose David to be over my people, Israel. And it was in the heart of my father David to build a house for the name of Adonai, Elohim of Israel. But Adonai said to my father David, because it has been in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well that it was in your heart. Only you do not build the house, but your son, who is coming from your loins, he does build the house for my name. Now Adonai has established his word which he spoke, and I have been raised up instead of my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Adonai promised, and built a house for the name of Adonai, Elohim of Israel, and have appointed there a place for the ark, wherein is the covenant of Adonai, which he made with our fathers, when he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. Revelation 15, verse 5. And after this I looked, and saw the dwelling place of the tent of witness in the heaven was opened, and out of the dwelling place came the 7 messengers, having the 7 plagues, dressed in clean bright linen, and having their chests girded with golden bands. And one of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 messengers 7 golden bowls, filled with the wrath of Elohim, who lives forever and ever. And the dwelling place was filled with smoke from the esteem of Elohim, and from his power, and no one was able to enter the dwelling place until the 7 plagues of the 7 messengers were ended.